So I just came back from Credit Karma, and they're saying I have a credit score of around 811. And I'm basically being pre-qualified for almost every single credit card out there because I basically qualified to be able to get whatever I basically want right now. Now I only have around 6 lines of credit and about like $50,000 in potential access to credit money. Now what you guys are gonna see in this video is the most boring guy on YouTube come to a decision on whether do I want to close down all my credit cards, which basically means that will crash my credit score, potentially eliminating it completely and giving me what they call an invisible credit score, or do I want to keep them open? Now here's where this choice actually comes from. It comes from, you know, whenever you pay off all your debts, like I did, for example, back in 2022, you come to a place where you kind of be like, do I want to have any potential access to any debt? And you can kind of go in the extreme, like the Dave Ramsey folks, and say, hey, just forget about debt in totality. Don't even worry about it anymore. Cut the credit cards, close the accounts, and even forget about your credit score. Or you could just use my one bill method and maintain your credit score without any real debt whatsoever. And I know this works because I've been doing it for the past years and I haven't gone into any crazy debt per se. But I say crazy debt because the only way to maintain a credit score is to have debt in some way. So in this video, what you guys are going to witness is me go through a decision-making process to figure out exactly, hey, which one benefits me the most? To close the credit cards, like the Dave Ramsey people, to keep them open, like the long-term team, for example, and just maintain them without any real debt. Which choice is going to be better? Now, I do have to say something, guys, okay? I'm not interested in disciples. When I say long-term team, is because every single person here is an individual. Discipleship is like how I follow Jesus. Whatever he says, I kind of do, right? Because I believe in that stuff, okay? But whenever it comes to us, like what you're doing watching this video is just gauge it. See what makes sense for you and make your own decision. Whenever I'm reading Dave Ramsey or I'm reading, for example, Robert Kiyosaki, I'm not on either side. I'm just trying to make the best decision that sounds the most rational for me and what I'm interested in the future is basically financial independence. That's all I really care about as far as when it comes to money. So that's what you're gonna see in this video. So make your own choices, that's my point. Now as always guys, like this video and top out also subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified. Now the very first thing is, tell me, what are the benefits here? If you go ahead and keep your credit scores open, right? Because by the way, the only way to maintain a credit score, to get some cool benefits like good interest rates and to be able to get access to apartments and jobs and just make life a lot more easier because we do deal with credit scores in this world, the answer is the only way to maintain it is to have, in a sense, some level of debt. If you have debt that gets reported to the FICO people, the FICO people then basically give you a score. The only way to maintain that score is to borrow money. The only way to get advantage of that score is to borrow money too, okay? That's the big thing. It's a cycle. You borrow money to have a credit score, you use your credit score to borrow money, you borrow more money to maintain your credit score. It's a cycle and you never get out of it, but it's also important if you're gonna rent an apartment, if you wanna get a job sometimes, if you just wanna get your first mortgage, you know, all those things do play a role in the world we live. Now, there is a solution, okay? There is a way to maintain a credit score with what I call the one bill method. So method we kind of started using a long time ago on this channel, but it's very simple. What you do is you have, for example, like me, I have 6 different credit cards, and on these 6 different credit cards, I have one bill on each of them. So I might have, for example, my Netflix bill on one credit card, and that's like around $15, $20, I forgot. Now that $20 bill gets charged every single month to that credit card, and every single month I have that credit card set to automatic payments, so every single month it also gets paid in full. Right? So by doing this, what happens is you get one payment that's registered, okay? And on top, on time, by the way, and you also report a low balance. And those are the 2 main things that the credit card people basically care about, that you have a low balance, creditization, and you also have a solid payment history, which you will have because you're paying on time automatically and you don't have to worry. And you don't have to risk going into crazy debt, okay? That's the main benefit of doing this. And by doing this, you get to maintain a good solid credit score. So in the future, potentially, if you want to borrow money, which I don't plan on doing this is where the big thing comes into play, right? If you want to borrow money, you have the option of having a good track record of years and years and decades that didn't cost you anything, right? And it just makes life a little bit more easier. Now, what could be the potential drawbacks of actually having a solid credit score or trying to maintain one, not using, for example, the one bill method? The answer is, guys, whenever you play stupid games, you can always just win stupid prizes. And here's what I mean, okay? Whenever you hear about, I get points, I get miles, I get benefits, I can stay, for example, in this little corner in the airport. It is awesome, Tommy. I get some credits back. I get some points for the hotel. I get this, I get that. The answer is, it's all stupid. I get better rates for my car because I want to borrow money to buy a car. I get better rates for my mortgage. But in reality, all these things are trivial in the big sense, because overall, you have two types of people. The people that say, I pay my credit card in full every single month. And those people don't consider the science, because science says whenever people use plastic, usually credit, they tend to overspend around 10 to 20% extra. That means whenever you go to a store, here's a simple test, okay? How much money did you spend on gas the last time you went? How much money did you spend in the supermarket the last time you went? How much money did you spend the last time you went to eat somewhere? The answer is most people do not know, because whenever we pay these days, we give the card, we pay, we get a receipt, we don't look at it, we put it in the pocket, and we just walk away. That is the trend, because whenever you use plastic, you don't feel the actual money leave your pocket. But if I told you, let's go buy you a car, and the car costs $30,000, and you have all that money in cash, and you hand it over like this, you will feel what they call pain receptors in your brain, which will activate and will make you think twice before spending $30,000 of cold hard cash. So spending money on a credit card usually means you're overspending. So although you're paying in full, you're not paying the interest, you are paying the cost of being silly and using a credit card for normal things, okay? It's called overspending. Then you have the other folks, people that basically don't even pay on time every single month. They just pay some of it, okay? Not the whole balance. You know, those people, well, they get charged interest, and interest is expensive. And I've never seen someone get rich paying somebody else 18 to 25 to 35%. This doesn't happen, because whenever you have a credit card, guess what? Interest rates are very, very expensive. So you don't want to be really about either of these people. So where exactly do you land? Because Tommy, there are benefits to having a credit score, because we live in a world, we actually utilize that, but there are drawbacks to trying to maintain it with the wrong way. So what exactly is your decision, and what exactly are you personally going to do? Well, first I gotta tell you guys something, okay guys? Here's what would happen if I were to close down all of my accounts today. If I grab those credit cards, I call them the bank, so I just close them online right now. I close all 6 accounts within the year, because I don't have any debt. There's no reporting happening, for example, to the FICO people. So there's no, hey, Tommy's borrowing money, he's paying on time. None of that is happening anymore, because I closed out all the accounts. So within a year, they'll give me something called, for example, an invisible credit score or a 0 credit score. And people think that, hey, if this happens to you, if you don't have a credit score, that's not good, because you can't get an apartment. That's not true, because some people will basically deal with you as long as you have, for example, good income, and you have to show that you pay your bills on time just by giving them a record of the past bills you've paid. Tommy, you won't be able to buy a home. That's not true either, because there's something called manual underwriting. You go to the bank, you show them, I don't have a credit score, but I do have 6 months of pay stubs. I also have 20% down payment, and they will not turn you away, okay? If you can qualify for it. That's the whole idea. You can't even qualify for a cell phone plan. That's not true, because you have prepaid cell phone plans that don't involve that. But Tommy, whenever I go to get, for example, my electricity bill, they will require a bigger deposit. The answer is that is true potentially, but overall, does it really matter if you're saving a bunch of money on interest and also potentially overspending? So a 0 credit score happens, okay, whenever you just stop, for example, having any debt. You stop reporting, you get a 0 credit score, and it's not like life is impossible. It just is a little bit more complicated to kind of get what you want, because you're not using the same tools that everyone else is using. It's normal, it's fine, nothing against that. But here is my choice. My choice is, I don't like to be on either extremes. I don't like to pick sides for the sake of picking sides, because that can be very dangerous, because once you pick a side, now you want to defend that side, even though you might have the wrong information. So although I like the idea of having no debt, like the Dave Ramsey folks, although I don't really like the idea of using crazy levers like the Robert Kiyosaki folks, okay, what I consider to be the best plan is the one bill method, okay? Now, I don't plan on using debt, potentially in the future. Who knows? You know, things might change, but I don't plan on doing it. But I also don't see the benefit of foregoing my credit score altogether, and I don't see the benefit of me trying to control my spending habits by still using a credit card like the average people do and overspending, because I'm not any better than they are. So here's what I've concluded. The best possible choice for me is not going to be to close on my accounts, because that will give me a 0 credit score, add more friction to my life, and I'm not interested in that. The best plan would not be to try to manage my spending habits with a credit card, because I know I'm due to fail, I could overspend, and I don't want to do that either. So the best plan is to cut the credit cards, so don't use them, remove them from all payment methods altogether, right? And just do the one bill method. Set them on automatic. This way, I have 6 credit cards, they're all cut, I can't use them physically, they're not on Amazon, so I can't make purchases either, I don't even know the numbers, but I do have them fixed to certain bills out there, and they get charged every single month, and they get paid off in full every single month. So it's like, hey, I have this thing that charges the bill, it pays it off. It's like this kind of thing that doesn't really matter. I can't overspend. I'm not going to open any new lines of credit whatsoever. I'm not going to borrow any money either. But this way, I maintain it. Now, here's the thing. It sounds like the most rational thing to do, because I get something for nothing. In this sense, okay? But I don't benefit it from any points either, okay? In this sense, I get something for nothing. And in the future, if I want to buy a home, for example, and put down, for example, a good down payment, there's not a big conversation about it, okay? That's the big benefit overall. But if I don't plan on using them, then why even do this, okay? The thing is, for me personally, right now, it seems like the most rational thing to do. Now, in 4 years from now, when I say, hey, I really even haven't used it whatsoever, I don't plan on buying rental property with any credit, and I don't plan on doing any of those things either, by the way, but I just don't see the sense in foregoing it right now. But once I decide on that, me personally, then I will go ahead and take that next step. But overall, guys, that is it for this video. You saw me make a decision live, and it goes into play. What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks? What's the good? What's the bad? And then what do I want? And why do I want that? So when it comes down to making a decision and a choice, think this way. Don't be so biased on leaning, for example, well, Tommy said this, and then Dave said this, Robert Kiyosaki said this. The answer is forget about us. Just use what you hear from us to make the best decision for you, okay? That's all I gotta say here, okay? But don't add friction in the sense of like, I'm gonna be smart and then just don't think you're smart. None of us are smart. I catch myself all the time overspending every now and then when I use plastic, even like a debit card. So I'm very careful with it too. So be careful. Don't think you're smarter, because there are buttons that get pushed in the human being that basically get a certain reaction, and you have millions of dollars being spent on people that are programming things to push those buttons for you. It's called marketing. It's called developers and programmers, and that's what they're in charge of doing. So don't think you're smart. Some games are better to abstain from. So that's why I'm not playing the game actively. It's on idle. It's on the background. The app is not even open. It's just there. It's happening automatically. It doesn't take any willpower whatsoever. That's why I'm doing it this way. Now, as always, guys, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down below 0, so I know you made it all the way to the end of the video. That's 0, like the number 0, or that's 0, like the word 0. Z-E-R-O. Imagine if I misspell that would be embarrassing. Okay, yeah, that's it though. Up here is another video. Over here is my Facebook and Instagram, and as always, long-term team officially out. And let me know, what do you think? Do you want to be a 0 score person? Like, I don't ever plan on using it again, Tommy, so I'm done. Or do you want to be like, I'll use the one bill method and just maintain it, doesn't really hurt? Or you want to be like, I'm smart and I'm gonna maintain it and I'm not gonna overspend? Comment down below, let me know. Peace.